My name is Jacob, son of Matan, son of Elazar, son of Elichud. I live in Bethlehem, the house of bread, the city of David. I can cite my lineage back 27 generations to King David and 14 generations further back to Father Abraham. 41 generations of known fathers begetting known sons until 2 years ago when that legacy was destroyed. You see, I am the father of Joseph, who is husband, technically, to the adulteress you call Mary, who gave birth to a bastard son they named Jesus. I cannot begin to tell you the shame they have put upon my family name and her family's. It has been an unending nightmare. Our families used to be so close, Mary's parents and us. Her father and I, we were business partners together. We were tectoni, not just carpenters, but stoneworkers, carvers, repairers of nearly everything. When my wife and I had a son, and they, 3 years later, a daughter, it was only natural that we made arrangements for them to be married when he turned 18 and she 15. They were the best of friends from the beginning, thick as thieves. As Joseph grew up, I could see he took after me. A serious boy of few words. Like his father, he was not a scholar. He only lasted through a few years of Torah school, enough to know the law of God and to write out a contract or a bill of sale. Not a scholar, but I could count on him always making the good and right and honorable decision. I could trust him. Mary, growing up, had a dark beauty, a warm and gentle way about her, and a mind and a wit as sharp and as dangerous as my best Damascus steel chisels. Which is why we were all so devastated when just a few months before the wedding we had planned, she turns up pregnant. And my Joseph is decidedly not the father. It was a nightmare. It broke my heart. Bethlehem is a small enough town that everybody knows everything that is happening to anybody almost instantly. Even before Mary was showing, they all somehow knew calling Mary the predicted, shameful, shaming names. It became a sport among the clucking old gossips of Bethlehem to guess who the actual father might be.
What, was it Nathan the baker?
He has at least a dozen children by half a dozen different women. Or perhaps it was the centurion they called Pantera, the panther, head of the Roman garrison in Jerusalem or in Bethlehem. His nickname comes as much from his appetite for young Jewish girls as from his prowess in battle. In our culture, it does not matter how willing or unwilling a young woman is in the sexual act. It is always adultery. Theft either from her husband or from her father. Theft from her father's honor, his family line, his patriarchy. Honor that must be restored by blood, if necessary. It was Mary's father who demanded that Joseph bring Mary to trial, public trial, before the rabbis for adultery, that she might be found guilty and stoned to death so that his family's honor might be restored. He barged into the shop one day with Joseph and I and said, "I have other daughters who will gift me with true grandsons," and stormed back out. I did not agree with Mary's father about a public trial. I could not bear to witness such a scene. I suggested to Joseph that he quietly and without public shaming have a writ of divorce made up, and Mary could quietly leave Bethlehem and live whatever shambles of a life was in store for her and her child. Betraying no emotion at all, Joseph said that he had already begun the process. Our silent nods of agreement were the last communication we had together. For not long after that, instead of hearing about a trial or a quiet divorce, I found out that they were still in town. They were living together, and that Joseph had shamefully decided to act as husband and protector of Mary. It was a nightmare. What kind of man marries a woman who is carrying another man's child? I know what the neighbors say. A weak man, a man of no pride, a cuckold, a fool. I said a moment ago that Mary's father and I could repair anything. Well, except relationships. Our children's shameful situation broke everything apart, shattered our lives. He and I split the business in two, and Mary's father and I never spoke again. Honor required that I never acknowledge him in public. And tradition demanded that if I ever saw Mary, I must turn away and spit on the ground. It was 2 years ago that she gave birth to her illegitimate son, whom they named Jesus, Yeshua, God saves. What a cruel joke. This baby boy has saved nothing, just ruined all our lives. Joseph, I'm told, is acting toward it as if he's the father. I have not seen the child. I don't want to. And yet, I do. It's been a nightmare. It breaks my heart. My business has slowly recovered over the last 3 years. It is not my honor that was taken. My former business partner, though, is not doing well at all. And Joseph, I hear, is doing odd jobs for very little money. They live together on the bad side of Bethlehem, among the refugees and the prostitutes and the lepers. I don't know how they put food on the table, and I can't ask. It breaks my heart. I told you that I have not spoken to Joseph in nearly 3 years. That is true. But he has written me some letters in his rough yet dignified handwriting. I have a small stack of them, almost 2 years' worth. I refused to read the letters until last month I weakened. And I've been reading them over and over every day since then. Here's one. Honored Father, I can't begin to describe how bad this hurts. The betrayal is like ice-cold iron in the marrow of my bones. I am angry and I am helpless, and I already hear the names the men of Bethlehem are calling me, and the whispers of the women as I walk by. Cuckold, weak, pathetic, not a husband, not a man. Respectfully, your Joseph. Honored Father, I know how angry and disappointed you are about my decision to stay with Mary. From the beginning, you and I both knew the trial he demanded was not the direction I should go. No matter the mistake she made, Mary was the one I've known and loved since we were children. I knew a quiet divorce would satisfy your sense of honor and justice, if not her father's. But staying with her as a husband disappoints you both. I understand. Respectfully, your Joseph. And then I got the strangest one. It didn't begin, honored Father. It began, Dear Daddy, I need to tell you why I stayed with Mary and will endure the names and the shame to me and our families. You see, Daddy, I had a dream. I dreamt of a light, a presence, of love itself. Call it God, call it an angel, call it too much wine, call it delusional. But this is what was in my dream. It said, Joseph, Joseph, awake. Wake from your sleeping of knowing everything, your dream of not having to look. Instead, look anew. I have hidden blessing in your life, wonder concealed in what you reject, glory waiting on the path you resist. I know you want to understand and to control things, and this is beyond those. You are afraid of what others will think, but that is not real. This is real. I am asking you to be faithful without proof, loving without assurance, humble without protection. I am asking you to trust. Mary is on a quest, discovering the blessing and wonder that I have created in her. Do the same for yourself. Look within. Listen to your dreams. Give your heart a voice. Joseph, awake. I have hidden blessing in your life. Take it as your own and know my joy. He finishes with, Daddy, when I woke from sleep, everything was different. Everything. I did as the angel commanded me. With love, your Joseph. I don't understand fully what has happened. But as the angel apparently told Joseph, I don't have to fully understand to fully love. Joseph's dream changed everything for him. And my nightmare is slowly lightening to become a complicated dream of sorts. Not a dream like Joseph's. No, there's not enough wine in Galilee to give me a dream like that. But since I read those letters, it seems I weather the whispers and the finger pointing and the cackling better. I have a calmness about me that cannot be broken by the rumors and the name calling. In another letter, Joseph asked me, have you ever been open enough and vulnerable enough in your soul to be receptive to something bigger than you? Something of love and justice, something of honesty and decency and integrity. And I wanted to answer him, yes, Joseph, I have. Chief among them, marrying your mother and raising you, Joseph. And maybe I'm beginning to see that that is what you are doing now with Mary and the child. And maybe I'm finally vulnerable enough to break the rules finally and come and see you and speak to you in person, my son, my Joseph. Except now I find it's too late for that. Just as I was making plans to close up shop and walk across town to finally visit my son and Mary, I received another letter. And I'm not sure how to decipher it, and it breaks my heart again. It reads like this. Dear Daddy, I told the messenger to wait 3 days before delivering this letter. We have to leave now, or rather, by the time you get this, we are gone. I had another dream. By the time you get this, Mary and I and our child will be nearly to Egypt. Our neighbors with young boys, tell them to head to the hill country right now. We can't explain. But believe me when I say it is the good and the right and the honorable decision. I love you. Shalom, your Joseph. I trust now that Joseph is following a dream and not a nightmare. He begins a new life, a new calling, a new path, a new covenant, giving up everything of comfort to follow love. What kind of a man risks and loses everything to obey God? What kind of a man will become a refugee and cross a hostile border to find sanctuary and protection and a safer life for the family that God has gifted him with? Not a weak man, not a cuckold, not a fool, but a just man, a faithful man, a loving man, my son, Joseph.